Okay.
I've come up here to be with the fear of being up here.
Really? That's why you came up here? To be with the fear of being up here? Tell the truth now.
Uh-oh.
Because you could have done that exactly right in your seat.
Well, that's what I've found. I've been playing this game that I can't do that.
Right. But don't expect me to play that game with you. So what is the reason for coming up here that's deeper than the fear of coming up here? Deeper than any game of, oh, I should or I shouldn't, or yes, I will, to be with the fear that I can't be. What's the motivating force to come up here? Really, truly, beyond or closer than any game.
No, I thought that was the reason.
Uh-huh.
Because,
Well, you could then just take a public speaking class, and go out and meet the Rotary Club or something, and give a speech. That would do the same thing. Or you could stand up in a movie theater and say, hello, I have a fear of public speaking, so I wanted to take this opportunity to be with that fear.
well, for me, it was the fear of exposure up here. The
Fear of exposure, okay. So this is different from just the fear of coming up here. It's the fear of exposure. And so what is it you're afraid will be exposed?
Fear of ridicule, fear of not being worthwhile.
So you're
worthless.
afraid it will be seen that you're really not worthwhile, not worth anything, so then we will all ridicule you and you will have to experience a humiliation of not being.
Right.
Okay. This is the way you tell the truth to yourself. You don't settle for the, oh, this is what it is. You examine it deeper and deeper. So if you were totally and completely humiliated, really humiliated, like a dream of showing up at school naked or something.
You've had those kinds of dreams.
Most people have. Most people have. What is the experience of humiliation? All the way, not the story of humiliation. That gets you to the point of humiliation. And then if you keep telling the story of humiliation, there's an avoidance of the actual experience. So you give up the struggle and you allow yourself, in this moment, to be humiliated. This is a big one for a lot of people, so you're actually assisting quite a number of people in your willingness.
Feeling being humiliated because I can't come up with humiliation.
Okay, so that's good. So that being humiliated, if you stop resisting that by trying to come up with humiliation and you just meet the humiliation that is naturally present, the incompetence or the unworthiness or the not getting it or the missing the answer. Just really, right now, you just like open your chest into it. You give up all protective stance. What's that experience? Not the story, but the experience. I'm not sure if this is right, but it looks like twice to me in this little 60-second period, there was an experience of no humiliation. And then there was getting humiliated again, because that's the assignment, is to get humiliated.
Well, there's still some bodily fear
Okay,
sensations going on.
Yes, there's some bodily fear and sensation. So you let those sensations go on without telling any story about them, because that's under the humiliation, the fear.
Mm-hmm.
There's the fear of humiliation, and then under that humiliation is this fear, which is bigger than the fear of humiliation. The fear of humiliation keeps you away from this fear, from experiencing it. Because if you don't put yourself in a position where it's possible that you might be humiliated, then you don't have to deal with this deeper, bigger. But here you are. You've already put yourself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And in your willingness to experience the humiliation of putting yourself in that position, you have touched on this fear. So this is an opportunity to invite this fear fully here, to give up the resistance to it. And that invitation is facilitated by stopping telling a story, any story you may be telling about anything. What are you experiencing?
A lessening of that fear.
So the more that you are willing to experience that fear, it's not that the fear goes away. It seems like that, but what it is you get to see really what the fear is. We think it's fear because it feels like fear. But I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to, well, surely you have as a human being, a snarling dog or a car cutting in front of you. There's a physiological fear that floods the body with chemicals. Mm-hmm. And it says alert. And it's no problem. It's actually an ally. But this that then gets called fear is not an ally. It's like something that haunts you and keeps you from experience.
Right.
But it's not keeping you from anything right now. How is that possible?
Well, it's gone in this moment.
That's right. Because it doesn't exist in this moment. And the way that is discovered is by being willing for it to be totally here in this moment. When you are willing for the fear to be totally here in this moment, then your attention is not on some past concept of what fear is and why it should or shouldn't be here, and what it means, and this is the essential part, what it means about who you are. Because you know there's nothing wrong with fear. Fear is appropriate. But it's inappropriate not. The fear of fear is the unwillingness or the resistance to fear being here. You must invite fear here. In that invitation, you bring it out of the past into this moment. It's like, well, okay. Because otherwise it appears to chase you, haunt you all your life. You may get rid of it for some periods of time, but there it is, waiting. So you finally just turn and say, well, hello, come in. Whether it seems big or small is irrelevant.
I've had that experience with lesser fears, but it's been this fear of being in front of a group of people like this that's been it's controlled me in some ways.
Yes, but this fear of being in front of a group of people is really just covering a deeper fear. This fear of being in front of a group of people is nothing. You saw, boom, just come up here. You shake a little beforehand, you rehearse a little beforehand. You come up here and it's nothing like you expected. Maybe better or worse, whatever. But the opportunity then is to see what's deeper. Then the opportunity of seeing what's deeper and in experiencing that is to see, to directly experience what's deeper than that. Then we can talk of exposure. Then we're talking of exposing the truth of who you are, of truly being naked to yourself. This is what brought you up here, as far as I can see. Otherwise, there are a lot more comfortable places to work out your neuroses, your phobias. There are phobia cures you can take. But there's some motivating force that wants to expose itself. Is exposing itself, regardless of neurosis, regardless of fear of humiliation, fear of being in front of people, fear of getting it wrong. That may all be there, but deeper than that is this force that says, I must come out. Are you aware of this force?
Yes, in this very moment.
Have you been aware of it before this moment?
Quite frequently, every day.
You see. And when did the awareness of this force arise?
When I first got a glimpse of it was maybe 14, 15 years ago. And then when you had come to Washington, D.C., there was a real confirmation of recognition of who I truly am. And ever since then, it's been deepening.
That's right. That's what brings us together. That's what brings you up here. Yes, you see, very simple.
Yeah.
It's very simple. The complications are the counter forces to this force of self-knowledge. And they're strong, but the depth of your being in this incarnation, is ruled by that force of truth. And you know it.
I know.
That's the good
The interesting
news.
thing about it is
The interesting thing about it.
that
Yeah,
there's
but-
this fear that goes on, like in every satsang, ever since Omega, there's been this fear of raising my hand to come up here. And in some sense, I've been absolutely okay with that.
Uh-huh.
And yet there still seemed to be like a calling to come up here to really
Yes,
deal with it most
that's right.
directly.
So the calling is deeper than the fear.
Right.
That's my only point. And if you will recognize that there's fear, or there's not, doesn't matter. Some nervous systems are wired more for fear than others. But that deeper than that, there is this calling to be true to the truth of who you are. Maybe you first tasted the truth or glimpsed it as a child. Maybe it was a week ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to be true to it. So it can come out. Someone was speaking of being a beacon. So this beacon is a flame inside you. And your willingness to let it come out, then the bonfire of the thoughts and fear shouldn't be here. When will it be gone? Or it's ruling me. All of this just burned up. And that bonfire is an invitation to all aspects of yourself, internally and externally, to join in the surrender to the truth of who one is. Yes, simply that. Not knowing anything but that. If there is knowing to be known, it follows that. If there is speaking to be spoken, it follows that. Action to be taken, it follows that. So this action that was taken of actually having the fear or whatever and coming up here and even having the thought, the reason I'm coming up here is to expose this fear, is really following this deeper truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I congratulate you on your willingness.
Thank you.
Be who you are. So I don't know what the wiring of this organism is. I don't know the trauma that's happened to this organism. Or the mother of this organism that maybe got passed on, or maybe it was just some like genetic mistake that got passed on. Who knows? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's where the imperfection is. And it will be perfected or not. It will come into alignment or not. That's irrelevant. The relevance is being true to this force that has been mysteriously saying, I am, in your life for these years.
I'm so deeply grateful.
Me too. Good. Thank you. So if there's anybody else out there thinking, I gotta come up there because I'm afraid of coming up there, because this comes up often at retreats. He just did it for you. Because it's the same storyline. You know, I'm happy to speak with people up here, and I do speak with people up here. Lots of different people, because the storylines take lots of different tangents. I mean, it's all basically the same misidentification, but there are lots of different variations of the lie, the dance. So it's very nice to expose what's always true. And in the exposing of what's always true, to see your dance up here. Then every moment in our meeting together is used by this force that brings us together. We have wasted so much of our lives trying to deny it, trying to get it to conform to somebody's idea, worldly or spiritual. The possibility is just to surrender, to let it have your mouth, to let it have your hand, to let it have your hand, to let it have your head, to let it have your story, to let it have your whole life, past, present, and future, right now. And you see how utterly simple that is, because it already does have your whole life. You know. There she goes again. That's a secret language. I forgot what I was going to say.